So I've been getting a few things, and I'll do a general. I got some new cards, but as I was doing it, I was getting some crazy ass downloads. Really helps to make your own cards, like holy crap. There are true evils in the world, and I think a lot of times the way that this world is going and the way things are playing out, it is a mass hypnosis, and it's a big MK programming that they've done for all of us since the moment that we were born. And a lot of it starts with trauma, because what it does, it fragments ourselves, it fragments our soul. And when you have your soul fragmented, we are able to disassociate, and which is a lot of this isolation that's been happening and this forced isolation that we've been going through. And when our soul fragments, becomes a lot easier for certain entities or organizations to control the population and masses. It becomes a way for certain entities and powers to come in and infiltrate, and which is a lot the way it is, which is trauma bonding, which is, and sometimes some of us are able to realize that and integrate it and to evolve, not really evolve from it, maybe sometimes, but sometimes it totally would arrest us emotionally, developmentally, and it would either cause people like that would become empaths, or even, and on the other side of that, narcissists. Because we all have a place within this world, within this universe, within this dimension. And people will say evil is relative, and that's all psychological, and people are just, they're having issues like psychotic breaks and things like that. But it's amazing how much it is all kind of rolls in together. And it's a time for us to try to find a way to integrate. There's some interesting stuff. Stuff just kind of went out. But whatever, I think I need to start. I feel like I'm going to explode. Let's see what's going on if I don't start. Government or organization. Holy crap. So this is it is a prison planet. It's a mass hypnosis and control. And this is all an experiment. And it was before they've had these tools of control. And it certainly is afterwards, because they are working for a side, as a lot of us are as well. Emotional issues and anger issues. Government or organizations causing mass fragmentation within the self, within the emotional body, within the mental capacity and mind. It's spiritual, not medical. You're not crazy. Part of it, when you go into the micro and the macro, it's like First, you have to realize yourself, your own triggers, what it is within the place in our world and the traumas that was put upon us in order for us to evolve a certain way. And which we've all have that in our chart somehow, to fully come into ourselves, to realize that in order to follow our spiritual path within this world. And what is your spiritual path and how do you find it? You look at your chart. I would suggest your Vedic, but of course, whatever rings true to you, it helped with me. Look at your ascendant, which is your rising, which is your spiritual purpose within this world. That's what you're meant here to do. That's what you couldn't do in your last life. Because your ascendant and rising is this life. Your past life is on the other side of that. And in your past life and your deathbed, you've wished, like, let's say I'm a Scorpio rising. My past life is Taurus. I've had a very blessed life in my past life with luxury, with home, household. We rule the hand, manifestation, magic, family, love. So in this life, I was meant to be torn away from all of that because it was my wish on my deathbed in my past life to have more time to have spiritual integration, a spiritual path and a spiritual knowledge. And unfortunately, that along with that, it comes a lot of trauma, a lot of unexpected endings, a lot of loss. And unfortunately, with trauma, that's like the main way for us to kind of go within and go throughout that dark night of the soul for us to have that awakening. And I don't know if there's any other ways to go about it, but that's usually the main way. Because if your life was peaches and roses, you wouldn't be going within. You wouldn't be wanting to look deeper because everything was beautiful and amazing on surface, and on this world and in this realm. And the thing is, that's our north node, that's Rahu. Rahu which is this world, this dimension, which you could see, feel, and touch, which is actually illusion. It's not real. Because with your north node, you would find purpose, you would find, your ascendant is where your life path is going towards. Your north node is your interests. What is it that drives you? What direction in life, what area of life that drives you, that gives you an obsessive quality that you feel that you need to obsess about and learn and integrate? And how is it that you project it out into this world? And we could learn lessons on both the north and south, and the ascendant and your descendant. And we learn about ourselves, and there's things to learn on our past life and in order for us to fully realize and tap into those gifts. There's a spiritual warfare going on, and it's time for us to work on ourselves within our own psychology and our emotional realm in order to fully realize what that is and what our place within that this battle is. Because everyone has a purpose in life, even the dark side. They have a purpose, they have a reasoning. There's a reason why they were born into that life that kind of turned them into an arrested development, into a shell of themselves, into that soul loss, in order for them to be a shell of that darker entities, in order for them to bring about that battle of kind of that new balance of what will be, of what side that will play about, because it played out many times, in many different lifetimes, many different dimensions. And we are so much more than just this lifetime. And that's part of the illusion. That's part of Rahu. Because once you achieve your obsession, your north node, you find out once you achieve it that it's not as fulfilling as you thought it would be. And that's when you start to realize it was all an illusion. And then you would naturally go to your south node, because that's where you would find your awakening to be more one with God and the divine, whatever that shows up, whichever way it shows up to you. Harsh communication and verbal abuse. Part of it is shame. It's shaming of how we react. Because even spiritual people, we're not all angels. I have my emotional reactions too. I have my triggers as well. But it's the things that we picked up and learned from what was done to us. And there's a need to go within and find that, because it's so much more than just that person that you want back, or that person on the outside thinking, because it's so much more than the individual and person, because we would find that that's all just illusion. That's all just something to distract us from what's really going on. Like this whole thing with like Will Smith, like that was all just a distraction, all of it. It's like that sleight of hand, that magician, telling you to look at this hand while they're palming the other card on the other side. That sleight of hand. And so you don't exactly see what they're doing with their other hand on the other side. It's like, so how do you pull out your reactions? And how is it projected back to you? And how is it that we only see other people's parts in it without seeing it, our own parts in it? And how we tend to react the same way on different occasions, but whatever we put out, we get back. But we never fully realize what it is that, how we exactly project that out into the world, and why we get those same things projected back to us, until you kind of do that shadow work and go within and see the root cause of it. Why do I go and find the same relationships who react the same? It's like a different face with the same kind of energy. Holy crap, look at that. I feel like a lot of it was like, it's a distraction. The celebrity, influencer, musician. Not only is it distraction, it's like if you're on a certain side, when you're so grounded within Rahu, within that illusion state, and you are reached a certain influence within this world, it's a certain allowance that a certain group or individuals have afforded you that to be able to achieve to the highest heights. And when you play on their field, there's certain rules that they must follow in order to fully enjoy those spoils. You know, it's like that shame, it's like that shame ritual that they have to enact or put out as their way of like earning their place in the world, because there's always a price to pay when you play on their field. There's always rules that need to be abided by when you play in the world of illusion. And a lot of that is like, oh, we could talk days and weeks about something like that without realizing how amazingly insignificant it is, and how much of it is that it's just an illusion and a ploy so certain sects or groups could practice that sleight of hand. What else? They even may try to enter your energy space by neighbors, by acquaintances, by the third party person, by people you don't know very well, but even your closest loved ones as well. But sometimes it's just people that's kind of sitting on the border at the outside that kind of try to infiltrate to pick up knowledge and understanding and secrets into finding out your dynamics. Like, how well do you know these people? Where do they come from? Who do they answer to? What is the purpose of somebody that you don't know very well starts asking you a bunch of personal questions? Has that happened to you recently, and why? There has been a big watch on spiritualists, on people who can spiritually evolve, or if everyone can spiritually evolve, like what's their capacity, what's needed in order for them to hit that trauma mark, and to them to kind of force them to evolve in a kind of way. It's like that diamond where you pressurize it, you know, because before it's just a rock. It's a piece of like a coal or crystallized coal, you know, or a dark coal or piece of glass. It looks like nothing, but when you put the pressure on it, and when you shine it and when you shape it, is when you get the full clarity and the value, and where it becomes something that looks like it's not even, it's just like a piece of mineral, to something that is like priceless, you know, something that is limitless, and something that's indestructible. It's time for people to make a plan, get some structure, and get organized, and stop focusing on things that doesn't matter, on things that seem important, but when you really look at it and analyze it to see how insignificant and small it is, and when you start to really pull the string on certain things and events that are happening in the world, you realize how much more everything around you is a complete bullshit illusion. Like, do you think this table is real? Do you think like all of this social media and internet and, you know, like celebrities that they throw out with these fake crocodile tears about their fake empathy and knowing that they're actors, they're being paid for it, all of it. It's a show. And what is the main reason they do that? So you don't see what's really going on. It's time to make plans and get organized and to be able to fully realize your purpose. They'll throw these distractions out to make you forget yourself, your spiritual path, your real purpose and understanding and your place in the world, like this, by another person, by the fact that they left, by the fact that people constantly throw these trials and tribulations and have all this distracting arguments they put in your way, sabotage you in a way, and it's like you could end up losing yourself in this world of illusion, in this world of distraction. And they continually do these trauma dynamics and tests within our character to fragment us. So it's a lot more easier for us to get distracted. You know, you have more situations with people with like ADHD, which is really just like, it's astral projection, it's fragmentation, it's to understand where you go when you disassociate, when you trail off, and to kind of be more conscious of that. And what is it that you're really thinking when you're not thinking about anything and you forget what you're doing? Why is it there's so much stimulation that they put out into the world, the new game, the new phone, you know, the new channel, the new video? And maybe it's time for us to go back within ourselves and totally turn all that shit off and fully listen to ourselves and to where our truth really lies. And why is it that they set up the things the way that they do? Constant distraction. Maybe they even send people like this in your way. Make you believe that this is the thing that's the most important, that this is the thing that you want, and, you know, cause these kind of reactions within you and this need and these wants in order to distract you. Cause blockages and stagnation. It's time to make the unconscious conscious again. It's time to self-integrate and to find our own traumas and our triggers. And when we find out where the issue is on the micro level, we could start seeing things on the macro level, on the larger scale. Because it's like everything is on a smaller scale and it projects out into the larger scale, because what goes on so below is above. What is in is the same thing on the outside. This inner conflict that we all have, that we're never doing enough, that we're not enough, that we need to achieve more, that to question ourselves and everything. And it's time to realize that we are enough, that we have all the potential that we need. It's just a need to be more conscious of it, to fully integrate on it. There's somebody on the outside, somebody who has a defragmented soul, which we all do. We all have a level of soul loss, of defragmentation. But whoever that you've blocked in the past, I feel like if you're going through something where you find a lot of people that come into your life that do seem like the exact same energy in a different face, it's like there's entities out there that kind of bring those people to us in order to distract us of what is really important. Or sometimes it's to show us of what needs to be healed in order for us to fully realize ourselves and our potential and our place in the world so we can progress. I feel like there's people that have been watching people who are starting to evolve this massive hypnosis and experiments, this trauma bonding. When you go through things like this whole mind control programming, and that's not a conspiracy theory. This is actually documented. This is the Pavlovian concept and theories, and the way they brought about it is that it's like a man, I forgot his name, but his last name is Pavlov. He loved dogs, like he trained them. And then one day there was like a storm, or there was a break in the water line, and it started to fill up in the dog kennels, and there was no way the water could escape. So the water started to increase, and the dogs slowly started to get like enveloped and almost drowned within the waters, to the point where their head was like at the top of the cage and only their snout was peeking out, until the man Pavlo, he saw that there was a leak and he out of the line, and he went to save his dogs, and he released all of the dogs and they lived, but they were never the same again. And all of the nicest, sweetest dogs, their demeanor was forever changed. And through that concept, he realized something. He realized that you could actually change a person's psyche and personality and, completely change the demeanor and, of who their personality was. And that's where he kind of started his experiments. And he created a book about it. And after he wrote that book, he was hired by the SS, the Nazi party, and he was the head program of their experiments. And then after their experiments happened, that whole war broke out and there's winners and losers, he was hired by another government. We could guess who that is. There's somebody that might want to come and offer you something, somebody that put you on block before. Somebody that you've blocked out before. And maybe you suspected that, he or she had some addiction issues, or You know, whether it's to attention, whether it is to sex, whether it is to, you know, but whatever you suspected, it was more than likely true, and this person wants to come back into your energy. I feel like it's time, like, it's a programming as well. They're programmed, they're on a clock too. When you have these people who have this certain amount of soul loss and they become empty shells of themselves, they're a lot easier to be controlled, and they're on a clock, which is why a lot of these general readings would have like, oh, this person's returning, this person's toxic, this person, watch out for that. And it's like all the general readings are actually kind of mirroring each other. There's a reason for that, because it's like, it's a time, because it's like usually it's a time, it's a certain timeline that something is going to happen. There are things that are big that's happening that they need to distract the masses with. Someone wants to help you. Someone wants to... Ooh, interesting. Embezzlement. So... there's someone on the outside that you blocked off. He or she created a lot of blockages and stagnations within your life because they're feeling blocks and stagnation. They want you to unblock them, and I'm sure you block them, and I'm not saying take what fits and leave the rest. I'm saying if this is yours, it's yours. If it's not, it's not. And you definitely block this person. They want to offer you something. They want to say that they want to help you, but it's not to help you. It's to take from you. And even if they're offering you money, it's because it's a form of control. It's financial abuse. It's coercive control to pull you into their kind of like their web. It's like, oh, what a pretty web we weave when we practice to deceive. And those people who kind of give a little to take a whole bunch. Spirit communication and guidance. Listen to the synchronicities. Are you seeing a lot of synchronicities lately? A lot of repeating numbers constantly throughout the day. It's 3:11 right now. Look up the meanings of that. Are you having conversations and it's popping up on your television or cell phone, like commercials, internet threads, having weird synchronicities, like you're watching a movie with a police siren going on and you think it's just the television, but then it goes to a commercial, or you turn off the television and you find out like it's a real siren. There's a reason for that. It's usually an indication that the divine is telling you to pay attention. It's trying to tell you something. If it's a siren, it's a warning. If it's a synchronicity, it's like, it's a message. You have somebody who has avoidant personality disorder. It's a shell. Somebody who had a fair amount of trauma within their life, and that's what happens too. It's either you would become completely arrested in development and become a shell for them, as in for them to be used as, look at that, a spiritual narcissist in reverse, for other darker entities to be able to use. Or you become an empath and martyr, where you just become like a professional doormat. Where is it that you disassociate and you tend to go numb when things get really hard? And why do you tend to do that? Where did the trauma start? And was it a safety mechanism? And how do you kind of push yourself out of that into being able to feel again? Maybe somebody who's from Asian descent. Maybe someone who feels locked up and in jail, like maybe in spiritual jail, maybe locked up in their mind. This is spell work, mind control, and manipulation. Protect yourself. Overly judgmental and false accusations, abuse of power. This is a person who likes to blame, a person who likes to accuse, a person who likes to verbally abuse into making you feel that you're wrong or you're the issue, as a way to project a lot of their darkness on you in order to make you second guess yourself, as a way to easily control you and a way to start to deferring to them, as a way to unconsciously please them. Because when you start second guessing yourself and you start to think that you're not good enough, and a lot of it is on an unconscious level, because you see, if you ever see it happen to someone on the outside, you're like, why are you letting this person do that to you? Why are you allowing it? But it's a lot different when you're a person on the outside looking at another situation than when you're fully in it, because it's complete mind control. It's as a way to control you and your behavior into acting out a certain way that will benefit them, and it's more than likely detrimental to you. Abuse of power. This is someone who is definitely narcissistic, someone who likes to control because of their own insecurities. This is someone who is having a control dynamic currently where they are in. And I feel like they've been pulling on your energy. DOD and military. Maybe this is someone who was in the military or has done military time, where these people are definitely being controlled by certain entities in order to play out a certain timeline into creating a distraction into whatever is going to happen next. there's a travel or relocation. Maybe you could be in the military, and maybe you are changing posts, or somebody that you're dealing with is. Business owner or sole proprietor. You could be your own business owner as well, or wanting to start a business within yourself. I feel like these people, these shells of humans, are being sent to throw us off our path, to keep us from our purpose, to distract us. Greater Middle East, Arab, or African descent. Expect communication or a message. Have you been feeling them pull on your energy lately? Have you been thinking of them out of the blue after you haven't been thinking of them for a while? But this is possibly an overt narcissist, someone who enacts coercive control, who uses money for power. There is a relocation throughout the military, or DOD, or military, to different areas. You could be in the military and maybe you're due for a job overseas, and maybe you're going to get an offer for that, and it's going to come with directions and instructions, possibly through a foreigner or stranger. Death and endings. What's this death and endings? Jewish descent and cognitive dissonance. It's not as it seems. Somebody's going to offer you something, maybe a job, maybe a relocation or move. And maybe there's a need to put an ending to it. Because maybe it's not coming from a very good place, and there's some hidden agendas to it. What's not as it seems? What's this cognitive dissonance? A demonic or jinn attachment and possessions, and I love you. There's someone who has some kind of attachment to your energy, who feeds on it. And maybe they're going to give you some kind of offer. It's going to open some kind of doors to you, but I feel like it's going to come from a place that might not be the best for you. You're being watched. What else about you're being watched? stay balanced and grounded. This person's going to have tattoos and scars or scars. And maybe that'll ring true to you in some kind of way. If not now, maybe later. One more card and very last card. Clarify. I want you back. Somebody wants you back. There's someone who wants to come and confuse you. And it's up to you to see through the lie and illusions. Past life connection and a karmic soul tie. This person loves you, your energy and your light, because I feel like they need some supply. And they don't have any right now. And you seem like you were always a good source. I say protect yourself. That's what I got for you. Yeah. Feel free to subscribe if you feel like it meant for you. It's definitely a new way to do things, but definitely was feeling it. All right. Bye.